Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for taking time to come here. I really, really appreciate your time, particularly, as I said, with the better weather today, the situation globally being quite tricky for most people at the moment. So thank you for attending. A little bit about me first. My name is Alex. I was born in Spain. I'm originally from Spain. I grew up in the UK. And when I finished my bachelor's, I started working in a sort of range of different cities, different countries. I then finished my master's, specializing in applied linguistics, TESOL, and I'm currently working on a PhD in technology enhanced learning, which is proving to be very useful now that things have taken a dramatic shift online. So I don't regret that decision. Do we have many people here from Astana, from Nur Sultan? Maybe you can give a thumbs up if you're local in the capital. Anybody from Nur Sultan? Yes. iPhone QQ, Genghis. Yes, Arsen. Okay, excellent. Anybody from Almaty? My favorite city in Kazakhstan. Ah, Dina, excellent. Yes. I lived in Almaty for a couple of years. It's my heart is still in Almaty, even though I like Nur Sultan. I must say it's one of my favorite places. Excellent. Okay, a little bit about the session. So it's a short session. We'll have to cap it at 30 minutes, I'm afraid. And it's just to give you a flavor, if you will, a taste of different digital tools, digital apps that you can use to stay organized, particularly during this difficult period. I presume lots of you now use, lots of people use Post-it notes, write things down. I did as of, up until a couple of years ago. And then I started shifting my organizational tools online, which is why I thought it would be something I'd like to share with you. Just to get an idea of how well organized you think you are. I'm going to launch a poll now. I hope this works. I prepared it. Let me see. I think somebody shared their screen. Hold on one second. Let me just stop you from sharing your screen. I'm sure that was an accident. I'm gonna launch this poll. You have three possible answers, as quick as possible, please. How difficult, or do you find it difficult to stay organized? You should see the poll now. Okay. Okay. Seems to be very, okay, so probably the answer I would apply to myself. Let me see if I can share the results with you. So most people sort of accept that it depends. Yeah, sure, I agree. It's not just work, it's things like social meetings outside of work and so on. It's all, it's kind of different for everybody. Now, my next question, just very, very briefly, is about how you stay organized. So let me see if I can get this poll. Some of us do it physically, some of us digitally, some of us don't use anything. So you'll see some questions a question in front of you now, please. What helps you to feel organized? Okay. So, much to my sort of pleasure, I see most people rely on physical notes, which is great, because what I hope I can do in this very short session is see if I can convince you, if I can sway you into joining the digital world of self-organization. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about three different tools briefly. First one is my favorite, so I'll start with the best, Google Keep. Second one is Padlet, something I've been experimenting with recently. And finally, something quite simple, perhaps underrated, not all features are used, but something we use here at Nazarbayev University extensively. particularly at the Center for Preparatory Studies, Google Calendar. So starting with the first one, has anyone heard of or used Google Keep? Thumbs up, perhaps, if you've heard of Google Keep. Yes, Amina, Jean Zurich. Okay, apologies if I mispronounce. Okay, a few people. So what I'm going to do is try to share my screen with you. Let's have a look. Let's see. Now you should be able to see my screen. Let's have a look. Can everybody see Google Keep? Can you see it in your screen? Yeah. I can't actually hear you. I can see my screen at the moment. So unless anybody screams dramatically or puts their thumbs, I'll assume you can see Google Keep. In fact, let me just check the chat messenger. Yes, excellent, great. Okay, so at first glance, you might think that it looks a little bit disorganized. You know, what's this? A picture of a mask, some notes. It's all in different colors. Yeah, fine. The way it's used is when you want to make a note, you can title your note at the top, add some details at the bottom, and then your note will deposit itself on the screen. If you want to categorize your notes, you'll notice mine are in two different colors. Any reason? Perhaps you can put it in the chat box. Why do you think this one is in red and the others are in gray, for instance? Maybe you can make an educated guess. Any reason why I may color code them? Yeah, Hafiz, head on the nail, excellent. Yeah, you can prioritize according to colors. You can also add priority labels. This is a dummy Google Keep using another account. My Google Keep, you know, has very personal things, and it's a complete catalog of you know, it's 30 to 40 different things. So when you do use something like Google Keep extensively, color coding, yes, red priority catches the eye. I do it in other ways. I have anything related to my studies is in green. Anything that's not so important is in yellow, and so on. Everybody has their own method. You can label them, which means you can search only for, say, high priority reminders. You can search for low priority reminders, and so on. Particularly important thing as well, once it gets filled up, you can pin maybe notes that are relevant for that day or that week. You can pin them to your board. So you'll see now this is at the top, it's been pinned. If it no longer applies to me, I can unpin it. Okay, so one of the really sort of great things about Google Keep is the multimedia aspect of it. It's not just writing the title, writing the notes, setting a reminder. There are a wide variety of ways. You'll notice this one has been recorded.
Block 2 is at the end of the atrium on the very right-hand side, opposite Tartine Cafe.
Okay, it's been recorded. It's also been automatically transcribed. Let me just assure you what a blessing that is if you're quite busy and you don't have time to type things down. It's Google Keep's auto transcription software is very, very accurate. It may be that if you're speaking quickly, might make the odd mistake, which you can correct. It saves a lot of time in the long run. Any ideas from you as to why audio recordings might be better in some circumstances than just typing your notes on your phone or on your laptop? Any ideas? Yeah, Hafiz, it's quick. What happens? Yeah, absolutely. What happens if you're walking from A to B, you have to cross the road, you want to get something down quickly? Yes. Okay, well, hopefully you wouldn't be using your phone driving, but often, I mean, I often use it walking. If I need to make a note of something quickly as I'm walking, the auto transcribe feature is very, very useful. Okay. Let me show you something else. Don't forget, Google Keep there is a browser version, which is the one you can see, and there's also a version for your phone. They're both connected. Okay. So obviously, I don't know, imagine at the beginning of lockdown, you know, when quarantine was first imposed, I was having a little bit of trouble remembering to take my mask when I was going outside, you know, it's something new. Rather than writing it down, explaining it in sort of in a long-winded manner, a quick picture of a mask, you know, pinned to the top of your notes is a very effective way. It's a visual reminder. You don't, you know, I know what I go through day to day. I know that a picture of a mask means remember to put your mask on, remember to take your mask with you. Thank you, Diliana. So that's another sort of really good feature of Google Keep. Now, you'll notice with Google Keep, there are notes and there are reminders. What do you think the main difference is? Just if you were to summarize very quickly, a note and a reminder, aren't they the same thing? Let's see. So in the chats, 1 second. Sorry, I'm just trying to multitask quickly. Reminders have deadlines. Yes, absolutely. Reminders have deadlines, and yes, notifications, pings, great. Now, here's something for you. When you set a reminder, you normally put in, let me take this back 1 second. Let's take this one, okay? You normally set a reminder with a date and time. Okay, you put the date and the time. Now, because Google Keep is a phone app, you can set GPS reminders. Let me show you what I mean. I know, for example, I'm going to meet my friend. I need to meet my friend at Daily Cup, or next time I'm in Mega Silkway, I'd like to meet my friend, or next time I'm in Mega Silkway, I'd like to pick something up. I can actually set a reminder according to GPS location. Perhaps the coffee example isn't the best example, but imagine, for instance, I need to pick something up from Khan Shatir that's only available in Khan Shatir. I don't know. Imagine imagine I need to pick up something from the Adidas store. There's no Adidas in Mega Silkway, I don't think. Pick up X, Y, and Z. I can set the reminder to pin me on my phone next time I am in Khan Shatir. That's saved, and that knows that as long as I have internet, the next time I go past Khan Shatir or I'm within the vicinity, it should give me a notification. Okay, let me just check. Google, can you connect Google Keep with Google Calendar? You can, yes. It does sync with Google Calendar, yeah. Privacy is a good question. I agree with you, Hafiz. Privacy is I mean, it's very topical at the moment. It has been for some time. My take on privacy with relation to apps is that if it is a legitimate concern, however, for me at least, the sort of the benefits of Google apps in particular, Apple products, as you will, outweigh my personal privacy concerns. You know, if you were very concerned about privacy, you would never use Google Drive, you'd never use Gmail, you'd never use WhatsApp, and so on. For me, it's worth the risk, but that's something it's a very personal question, I think. Okay, that's Google Keep. There are lots of other features that unfortunately I don't have time to go through, but that's my favorite one, and I really recommend that you adopt a trial and error sort of approach to this. You should have a look at Google Keep in your own time and see if you can trial it. Before I move on to Padlet, one thing I've realized is I'm keeping people waiting in the waiting room. So as I'm See, I'm multitasking quite sort of violently at the moment. I have different screens popped up. I'm sharing. I'm admitting people. So apologies if I've had you waiting for too long. So moving on from Google Keep, has anybody heard of Padlet? Perhaps you could give a thumbs up if you've heard of Padlet at all. Let me see from the participants. Anybody used or heard of a program called Padlet? It can be used on your phone or desktop. No, not too many people. No, it doesn't seem to be as popular. Let me just check the chat. No, okay, interesting. Okay, a few people had heard of Keep. Okay, Trello. Trello is very similar. It's similar to Padlet actually. So let me show you. Can you still see the screen I'm sharing? You can see the, yeah, okay, excellent. So Padlet is something, it's essentially, it clues in the name. You can create pads if you like, they're shareable boards. Think of Padlet like an interactive or a digital pinup board, okay? You know, on first occasion, it doesn't sound very impressive. We all have pinup boards at home. Why do I need my computer? Why do I need my phone? Fine, that's a fair point. The key advantage to Padlet is interactivity, okay? Let me give you an example. Very, very simple sort of task for Padlet. You can create your own one. It will take me to another tab now. I've created one for bookmarks, okay? Maybe I'm working on a project. I am working on something with colleagues. I can click edit and I can type my bookmarks into here. Whilst that in itself is not particularly impressive, what is impressive is how interactive and shareable everything is. So if you click share on the right-hand side, you'll see that it's incredibly easy to share. You can share it with other Padlet members, you know, colleagues or friends who have actually sort of created a Padlet account, if you like. You can copy to a clipboard, email it out to people. You can do it through a QR code, email, Facebook, Twitter. The opportunities are endless. Very, very easy to share this. So for bookmarks, okay, you can also do that on Google Chrome. Perhaps it's not the best example. However, imagine you're working on a detailed project. Our students here at CPS, at the Center for Preparatory Studies, work on something called a research project, okay? The first step in working towards your project is brainstorming ideas for a title. Now, as you're brainstorming this, particularly now as we're entering the online world, lots and lots of organizations are going online, at least temporarily until the sort of COVID situation improves. You can add, when you add your sort of ideas onto your board, you can add images. This might be for an idea related to a project related to the environment, for example, very topical. Somebody else recently in my class did something on gender equality in Kazakhstan. It could be that I found a very good source online that I'd like to pin to my board, okay? Again, this is easily shareable with your classmates. So the idea is you could be brainstorming with your friend or your colleague or your team member who is in Almaty or Aktau, and you could both be co-working on this at the same time. There are lots of very interactive features. There's also one, you know, you can do something based on the world map, for example. This is one I did. You can do things like pin particular thoughts or memories to each country. For example, here I pinned where I was born, where my parents live, where I currently work, where I met my wife in Almaty. So you can create sort of information about yourself to use in an icebreaker in your first class. So there are lots of opportunities for Padlet. To not sort of rabbit on too much about this, is there anything that jumps to your mind that you think you could maybe use Padlet for? Let me see if I can I'll stop sharing a second so I can go back to the chat. Bonnie said it's good for a group of people. Presentation, yeah, absolutely, it is. It's not something that you would only use with your, I mean, work-wise or study-wise. It's people do it for all sorts of things. People use Padlet perhaps for a trip they're planning on. You want to get together with a group of friends to go to Borovoy Lake. You want to organize the logistics. WhatsApp groups are okay, but things often get lost and muddled in the chats. You have a Padlet board, and suddenly everybody can see what you can see. You can add links. You can put the hotel location. You can put the train times. Everything is in one place, and you have control of who accesses it, where and when. So that's I think is the main advantage of Padlet. Okay. A very final tool I'd like to share with you is something that I don't think is particularly new, revolutionary, exciting. However, something that I do feel is underused, underrated at times, and that's Google Calendar. Who here uses Google Calendar, just out of curiosity? Let me see if I can, either with a thumbs up or in the chat. Daria uses it, okay. We have people who use it daily. Okay, so some people are familiar with it. It's quite dated. It's been out for a long time. We use it here at CPS, at the Center for Preparatory Studies, in order to sort of more effectively collaborate between tutor and students. Your classes here at NU would be on Google Calendar, for example. So, you know, think way ahead to August when the first term starts, okay? You may have a reading and writing class. Your tutor would create the event. He or she would then share the event with you. In this event, you would be able to see the times. You would also see the Zoom link, which would be somewhere here. Instead of a physical location, you get a Zoom link that you can access. You'll be able to see the people who have been invited to this event. So you'll be able to see who from your classmates would be going, would be not going, and so on. So it's quite interactive in that sense. Also, let me just go back to it a little bit. You can duplicate events. You can you can repeat events so that you don't have to create one each time or write it physically on your paper calendar. You can sort of send reminders and pings. If you change anything on the event, the Google Calendar will automatically send a notification to the other attendees of the events. So I think it's often overlooked. You know, people look at Padlet, they look at Google Keep. Yes, these tools are newer, they're more innovative, they look more impressive for sure. My sort of takeaway on this is that we shouldn't forget our core. You know, there's a reason lots of institutions use Google Calendar as a base, and that's because it's simple, reliable, and interactive. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Just have a quick look through the messages, make sure I haven't missed anything. We have people attending at the end of the session, so perhaps I'll have some good questions. Okay, so here's a question for everybody in the form of a poll. So having looked at the different apps today, different tools, perhaps there's a tool that I haven't touched on that you know about. Which would you say is the most useful for you? You should see the poll now. Okay, I can see the results live from my end. I'm not sure. I don't think you can see it yet, but seems to be quite even. I'd be interested in the people who said something else. If you said something else, could you please just pop the name of the app in the chat, please? Okay, Trello, very similar to Padlet, great. Let me just share the results with you, okay? So it seems that Google Calendar, yeah, it's an oldie but a goodie, yeah. Okay, I'm delighted to see Google Keep has sort of had some votes. That's my personal favorite. Apart from Trello, anything else that anybody would like to share, just very briefly? Any other apps? Todoist, Notion, okay, Evernote, yeah, for things like references. Podio, I haven't heard of. Interesting. Okay, I'll make okay, OneNote, yeah. So that's sort of crossing over into reference management software now for people writing an essay. I agree. Yes, WhatsApp is great. It's just can be a little bit overwhelming, I think, depending on how many people you're collaborating with. Okay, great. So thank you very much for joining. It's been very brief. It's been great to have so many of you here. We do have a couple of minutes in case anybody would like to ask a question or two. I'd be happy to do my best to answer. If there's anything about the apps, about no, okay. I can see thank yous. That's great. That's music to my ears. Okay, great. Well, in that case, yeah, thank you very much again. Do stay tuned. There will be another webinar, not from me, but from one of my colleagues here at CPS soon, perhaps even as soon as next week. So thank you very much for being such great participants, and I hope to see you in the virtual world in the not too distant future. Okay, ta-ra everybody. Goodbye.